Hello everyone. Welcome to Yoga for Each One Awareness Week. This is our 20th week, and today we have Miss Mickey Fine with us. She will be talking about mindful living. So if anyone wants to know more about our yoga class, please do reach out to this number and email. And Miss Mickey Fine, she's a master's in education and she's a LPC. Then she's a founder of Mindful Living. She's an author of 2 books. One is May All People and Pigs Be Happy, and the second one is The Need to Please. So if anyone wants to reach out to her, this is her number. You guys can take a picture and you can reach out to her on her website. So this is her website address. And if anyone wants, I can email it to you as well. I already sent an email and I can do it again. And again, like I said, she is a founder of Mindful Living and certified mindful-based stress reduction teacher. So right now I'm taking a class with her, which is an 8-week course, and I'm really enjoying. And she talks about mindfulness, of course, and she's making me practice as well. So she has written 2 books if anyone is interested, and she taught mindfulness and loving kindness meditation since 1994 in a variety of settings, including her private practice, research environments, Rice University and MD Anderson and the Jung Center. So this is Miss Mickey. Then, so today's class, before we start, I need to kind of inform all of you. This event is for educational and instructional purpose only. Please seek medical advice before performing these exercises. It can be physical or mental. If you have any medical condition, please seek medical attention. And please allow your body to guide you and set its own goals. And me and Miss Mickey Fine are not responsible for any injuries or damages that may happen during and after these sessions. Pictures may be taken during classes, may appear online. By attending this class, you agree to the rules listed above. And now I will welcome Miss Mickey Fine to educate us. Let me stop sharing this one so you all can see her, and I will kind of pin her video. So this is what we will be doing today. Miss Mickey will educate us about what mind is and what mindfulness is and what are the benefits of mindfulness. And then we will do 10 sun salutations. And then if you guys have any questions, you can do so before sun salutations. And then at the end, we will do, Miss Mickey Fine will lead meditation at the end. So then we will conclude the class. If you guys have any questions, you can write to us here in the chat, or you can ask questions as well. Miss Mickey, we want to welcome you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Anybody wants to turn on their video, I'd love to see you. And I think I know Mirta.
Yes, when Miss Mickey is talking,
I saw you.
Yes. Mirta is here, and if anyone wants to open your videos, please do. And
hello,
we can
all.
See you guys. Yes.
Yeah, all these beautiful faces. Yeah. So, as Lata has said, I teach mindfulness-based stress reduction. It's a program that was started at the University of Massachusetts Medical Center 41 years ago now. And it was started by a man named Jon Kabat-Zinn, who wanted to bring the essence of Theravadan Buddhism into a hospital for people who were really ill. And he did that. He took the Buddhist words out and kind of Americanized it. And here we are 40 years later, starting from a small stress reduction clinic, and now it's taught all over the world. I can't even tell you how many places. They used to keep track of how many places there were that taught it, and now it's like, you can't do that. So I've been certified for 25 years, I think, and I started this practice for myself because I needed it really, really, really badly. So, so I kind of feel like I can empathize with the people who are in my classes. So I know we're going to meditate in a few minutes, but what I'd like to do is for us to take a couple of mindful breaths with each other. And you're welcome to keep your eyes open or to close them. And you're welcome to sit in any way, because we're just going to practice a couple of breaths. Let's bring our attention to the breath wherever you feel it. Might be in the nose, in the chest, or the belly. And simply noticing the fact that you're breathing. And noticing on an in-breath that you're breathing in and you're feeling the sensations of the breath. And on an out-breath, knowing that you're breathing out as you breathe, as you notice the sensations in the breath. And just do this for 3 breaths here. And so I imagine you've had time for 3 breaths. One of the really nice things is that when we're on Zoom, that's actually a recommendation for the way that you start something, is simply to say, let's take let's take a few breaths together. So we're kind of, we leave what we have been doing and come into the present. So mindfulness is the awareness that arises when we intentionally bring our attention into the moment, and in an open-hearted and non-judgmental way. And sometimes this is hard, right? Because we actually, if you pay attention, we are judging almost all the time. We have preferences, we have perspectives, we have ideas that kind of come into, that play into the way that we think and act and behave, in the way that we feel as well. So so we come to a sense of open-heartedness and a sense of non-judgment. So if you think about paying attention in the present moment, and it's just this moment, right? But normally we get way ahead of ourselves, or maybe we're thinking about the past, or maybe we're kind of in a daydream and we're kind of doing stuff, but we don't really know that we're doing it. And so the more that we become present, the more that we can enjoy our lives, for one thing, when it's enjoyable. So that when you are looking at a loved one, that you actually look at them, you see them, right? When you eat your favorite food, it's like, be there. Sometimes we're eating our favorite food and maybe it's not quite what we should eat, but maybe sweet and fatty and yummy, and we're eating it, but we're thinking, I shouldn't be eating this. But if you're going to eat it, right? Enjoy, right? So this brings us right into our lives. So we have this sense of attention in this moment. It's just this moment, with an intention to bring kindness, bring non-judgment, and a sense of allowing our experience to be as it is. Because if you let go of judgment, here you are, oh, this moment is exactly the way it should be. And that's hard to come by. So we practice mindfulness meditation, we practice mindfulness in our daily lives, which is called an informal practice. The formal practice is finding time to meditate with mindfulness-based stress reduction. There's something called a body scan, sitting meditation that has the beginning of this really sharply focused attention on the breath. And then over weeks, we begin to expand so that eventually we can have the breath as an anchor and then notice the body, our emotions, the sounds around us, and our thoughts. And so we actually get to know ourselves really deeply. And so the attitude of allowing things to be as they are and kindness can bring us to this, what I think is revolutionary. If you look at the research on mindfulness meditation, most of that research is done around the 8-week class that I teach, that Jon Kabat-Zinn founded. Some of the benefit, I mean, I could talk for an hour about the benefits, but what I will say for now is that it helps us to live our lives as if they matter, because they do. It helps us to be more joyful and appreciative of our lives, and it helps us to know ourselves more deeply. It helps us to be able to handle even really, really big stresses with more resilience, greater balance. It helps us to make better decisions in those difficult times. And maybe even a fun time. Maybe you choose not to eat the fatty, sugary thing. So one of the things is that if we are on autopilot, which means we're just kind of maybe we're doing the dishes and we're not even paying attention. We're just wishing that we could get out into the living room with our loved ones, right? Instead, we're doing the dishes. But we could actually do the dishes mindfully. So that's part of the informal practice. And that's called autopilot. If we are just here, but not actually present and not knowing what's happening, right? So we get on autopilot. And when we're on autopilot, the mind, we don't know where our mind is. And the mind, and I know Mirta has taken my class and Latha is taking it. And when you start meditating, you start noticing, holy smokes, where did that thought come from? I didn't know that, right? We start knowing how we actually create our own stress. And there's a man named Viktor Frankl. I'm going to find the quote. Okay, there it is. So a man named Viktor Frankl, who was a psychiatrist in the Nazi war camps, said, "Between stimulus and response, there is a pause. In that space lies our freedom and our power to choose our responses. In our response lies our growth and our happiness." And so when we stop in the middle of things and take a breath, there's a moment when we come to our senses in a way, we get off autopilot, and we're able to maybe make a different choice. Not that that happens every time. You know, if you're having a really, really crummy day and it's just almost more than you can take, you might scream at your children, right? If it's a good day and you're just about ready to get snarky with your kids and you take a breath, oh, maybe I'll try something else, right? Maybe I don't have to yell. So mindfulness is not necessarily the magic pill, but it is very helpful. It helps the body in every system in the body. The brain actually changes to the gray matter actually gets denser in the places that you would want it to. And so we have better executive function, better thinking, and the emotional part of us doesn't cease to be emotional, but it's toned down a little bit, so we don't just, you know, have this burst of really difficult emotions. So we get off of autopilot, and we are better able to make a different decision and to know what happened to get us feeling so irritated or snarky or angry or whatever, or afraid, right? So come back to there are three things: intention or attention in this moment, intention. It's an intentional being here. We have to say, let's be here. And when we come to each moment with intention, I want to be here. I am, even when I don't want to be here, I will be here, right? And that that can help us to ground ourselves in the moment. And then the attitude of kindness, the attitude of allowing things to be as they are. And that's the hard part, right? I imagine all of you are kind because you are practicing yoga, and it's beginning to help you in all sorts of ways. But allowing the moment to be as it is really powerful. And most of the time, what we think is if we feel scared, angry, sad, whatever it is, that we need to get rid of it. We want to get rid of it. Who likes to be angry, right? Nobody. Who likes to feel that? And but there's a paradox. There are lots of paradoxes in mindfulness. And one of the paradoxes is that, especially with emotions, emotions, thoughts, sensations in the body, when we're doing this, trying to push it away and grasp onto something else, it gets worse. And so our struggle to not have the moment be as it is makes us suffer. And that in the Theravadan Buddhism philosophy, that this struggle, pushing away what we don't like and grasping onto what we want, is the source of our suffering. Okay. So we started at about 5 after, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we get off of autopilot and we live our lives. And one of the things that I think can happen when we start bringing kindness to the moment, to ourselves, and allowing things to be as they are, we fall in love. We fall in love with life, we fall in love with ourselves, and we fall in love with everybody. And there are lists and lists of things that mindfulness cultivates. And the list that I like are what's called the 4 heart qualities, which are loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. And equanimity means balance, resilience, right? And so who doesn't want more of that, right? And it's possible. So that that can happen. And one of the really I'm gonna tell you. So I'm gonna back up a little bit. I just saw a note that I attached to the bottom of the page on a little Post-it note. So there's a symbol in Chinese. The symbol in Chinese is very beautiful, and within that symbol is the word for crisis. So there's crisis, and in the middle of it, there's opportunity. So when we start being mindful, when we're in a crisis, or no matter how small or big, there's an opportunity. either an opportunity to know ourselves better, an opportunity to perhaps make a different decision. So that difficulty can actually be a powerful place for us to create some change and an opportunity. And in terms of allowing things to be as they are, the metaphor of childbirth. I don't know how many of you have children, but the analogy or the metaphor of childbirth is really powerful. That if the female is fighting, not, tensing up around the contractions and fighting them and not wanting them to come, that makes the childbirth harder, right? So there's one part of it. And then also, when you are going through a difficult time, to know that there is something that can come out of it, like with a birth, at the end, there's a baby, right? I hope that the baby would be wanted, but I have a neighbor that just had a baby and finally got to see her with COVID. They've been keeping her inside. Anyway, so this baby, it's like, wow, right? This precious new life. And when you know that that's going to come out of this difficult, hard thing that all women go through when they have children, it makes it easier. And so sometimes we may actually tell ourselves, inside this crisis or this difficult time is an opportunity. Don't know what it is yet. Let's see what happens. And to stay with what's here now and not trying to get rid of it, right? That works with emotions. It works with our thoughts. It works with sensations in the body, that we allow things to be as they are. And since that is so hard, we practice, right? So that's the short version of mindfulness practice. There's a lot more, and we're going to do 20 minutes here. And the class that I teach is an 8-week class. It lasts 2.5 hours once a week, and it has a little mini retreat after the 6th class. So there's a lot to learn, and there are home practices and hopefully even online, a nice connection with people, and that having, and I imagine that you already know this since you come to Latha's groups, that having this group or sangha or community helps us to keep up with the practice, right? So maybe I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on. So I'll turn it over to you, Latha.
Yes, Mickey. Thank you. And you were saying something like, there are 3 things you want us to do. So the one was intention. The first one was attention.
First is attention.
Okay.
We purpose, and it's done intentionally. Okay. We intentionally bring our attention into the present moment with that attitude, the attitudes of allowing, non-judgment, and open-hearted, kind of loving. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So we have something similar to that in yoga as well. So that is called dhyana, dharana, and samadhi. So that is exactly what you're saying. Yeah. And that works for everybody, even in modern psychology, and the science says that too. It is so fascinating that, when we are mindful, we tend to enjoy life. We will not miss an opportunity. And there might be some, what we call opportunity there in that crisis too. And we will learn to let go and learn something just by being mindful. Wow, it's such a powerful thing. Do you think most of the people are doing it, or what is happening in today's life? What do you think?
That most people are doing it?
Yeah, so what do you think? Most people are mindful, or are they on autopilot, or what is happening? So what do you think?
Even when we practice mindfulness, we're on autopilot a lot. What do you think, Nerta? Yeah? Yeah. So we practice as best we can. And there's And I always say to people, if you're taking the mindfulness class or you have a beginning mindfulness practice, to practice mindfulness with the mindfulness practice, because we don't do it perfectly. And so we can say, okay, I've been on autopilot most of the day and I forgot to come to my breath, and okay, I'm going to sit down for a few minutes and meditate. Yeah. So most of the world is on autopilot. I mean, this is what this used to be when I was in Houston, when I first started teaching this. I tried to market it to doctors because it came out of a hospital. There were maybe 3 or 4 doctors who would actually see me, and one took me to lunch out of, I can't tell you how many. That was 25 years ago. And now there are lots and lots of people who teach and refer to me, and there are many, many more, but still many people who don't, and they think it's kind of airy-fairy or, kind of woo-woo, whatever you want to call it. And it's as practical as anything. Pay attention, right? We teach our kids this in schools, right? So, and how do you pay attention? How do you train your attention, right? Keep reminding yourself, right? Yeah, with kindness and non-judgment. Yeah.
It's a very simple thing, but it is very hard to do it.
Yes.
So because I've been taking class, and whenever Vicky tell me to kind of sit without thinking anything, it was really hard for me in the beginning. Now
Yeah.
I'm getting there, and it is making me more alert, and it is making me more understand of myself. I can understand myself and my emotions, and I can see things clearly. So what a wonderful thing. I encourage everyone to kind of practice mindfulness.
Yeah.
And to complement, yoga will help practice that. How do we do it? So whenever, we will practice now 10 sun salutations. And when we are doing yoga, we always tell everyone to follow your breath and your action, and your mind has to be aligned together. So that is what yoga, bringing your body, mind, and breath to work together. So
Yeah.
that is what.
And that's mindfulness right there. You pay attention to the body, you pay attention to the breath, and you keep bringing your attention back to the body and feeling it. Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. So let's do 10.
So let's if you're sitting down, sitting a little bit forward from your sits bones. If you're sitting in a chair, feeling the back of the chair, on your rear end and on your back. And if you're sitting on the floor, wherever you're sitting, noticing where you make contact with the earth. Feeling the pressure there for the sensation of touch, whatever it is. And simply allowing ourselves to ground into the earth here. And coming to a dignified, upright posture, however that is for you. If you're lying down, bringing the attention to the alert. I guess that's the case for all of us. And so let's bring attention to the entirety of the body for a few moments. Wherever you feel maybe the result of the sun salutations, maybe streaming attention through the whole body or going to a specific sensation that may be there, or whatever it is. So we know that we're here. And gradually now gathering your attention to the breath. And With this meditation, we allow the breath to be just as it is. We don't try to make the breath do anything at all, but to notice how the breath is in this moment, from moment to moment. And noticing it where you feel it most easily, the nostrils perhaps, or the chest or the belly. Some people feel the breath in the entirety of the body. And letting that be, whatever it is for you, letting that be your focal point. As we breathe in, knowing that we're breathing in. As we breathe out, knowing that we're breathing out. And of course, the mind wanders. Whenever the mind wanders, simply, and that you notice it, simply letting go of judgment, critical thought, and kindly bringing your attention back to the breath. And again, returning to the breath. There's that intention of paying attention to the breath, knowing that the mind will wander. This is simply what the mind does. So it's not a bad thing, it's just what happens. So we can allow that to happen if it happens. Most of the time we're not even aware that it happens. So when we notice, we simply say, oh, okay, coming back to the breath. If we don't fight it, the better it is, the easier it is to stay with the breath. The harder you try with this, the more difficult it becomes. So in a way, we can simply rest in the breath. And each time you notice that the mind has wandered, there you are again. It's like flicking the light switch on and coming back to the breath. And whatever happens, keep coming back to the breath. We simply switch our attention back. And as we end, I'll read it's kind of a poem and kind of a story that is from a Native American tradition. And it's the story that the elders would tell their children in case they got lost. Stand still. The trees ahead and the bushes beside you are not lost. Wherever you are is called here, and you must treat it as a powerful stranger. Must ask permission to know it and be known. The forest breathes. Listen, it answers around you. If you leave it, you may come back again saying, here. No two trees are the same to raven. No two branches are the same to wren. If what a tree or a bush does is lost on you, you are surely lost. Stand still. The forest knows where you are. You must let it find you. And so you can bow to yourself, bow to everyone else for practicing with you. And I'm curious what that was like for you. Is this the time for questions?
Yeah, it was wonderful, Miss Mickey. I really enjoyed, and I can tell you within the span of 10 minutes, my mind wandered. That is for sure. So I tried to keep it, slow and steady.
Yeah.
Let's see if anyone wants to ask a question. Miss Mickey
Yeah.
is here. And meanwhile, yes, you can unmute and start taking, start the questions if you guys have any. So meanwhile, I will ask you one question.
Okay.
So is consciousness and mindfulness are the same?
Well, I think you can be conscious but not be mindful.
You can be conscious yet
You can be
mindful?
I think we can be conscious but not mindful. Like I might be, and I don't know the exact definition of consciousness, but if I'm conscious, I'm not awake, I'm not asleep, right?
Right.
But I may be conscious but not here in this moment. My attention isn't on in the moment.
Okay. So what you're saying is mindfulness is more of awareness, being in that moment and being aware.
Yes, attention here we bring our attention right into the present moment. Yeah.
Okay. So in yoga, this is what they say. If anyone is suffering, that is because prajna aparada. That means lack of awareness. So because of that, people tend to make mistake and then they end up suffering.
Yeah.
So they say awareness is the key, kind of like you say, mindfulness is the key for anything for us to see things clearly and to act and to enjoy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's simple, but it's not easy, right?
I agree. I'm practicing and it's not easy.
Yeah.
Yes. If anyone wants to ask a question, you guys are free.
Happy to answer them.
Any question? Let me see anyone. No one is writing. No questions. Looks like
A chat
yes.
or unmute your mic, either way.
It was great to see you, Mickey.
Great to see you. When I saw your name, I thought, oh, yay! And your hair's growing out.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So any questions? Yes.
Miss Mickey, it was a very nice session. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. I hope you practice. And if you're practicing yoga and you bring your attention to the sensations in the body, you got that. There you are, right? Yeah. Yes. In the classes that I teach, there is a yoga component, but it's very, very mild and not like what Lotha's leading you in. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, before we conclude this session, I would like to tell everyone to practice mindfulness in two ways. Whenever we are eating, be mindful what the taste is, what the texture is, and how much you are eating. Just by doing that, you will change your whole mind and body, everything. So with that starts the health. And the second one is being mindful when you get angry or fearful. So distance yourself, just like what Miss Mickey said. You follow your breath and take a pause before you react. That is what I would like to say. With that note, we will conclude our class today. And Miss Mickey, thank you very much for coming here, educating our clients and our students, or my friends, yogi friends, what I have to say. So I meet them often, and it was a wonderful tip, and I hope everyone will practice, and so that the happiness spreads. Thank you once again.
I'll show you one thing. Hold on.
Sure.
Oh, there it is. So if you guys have little ones, this is my book. And it's called May All People and Pigs Be Happy. and I illustrated it, and my husband wrote it. I wrote it, and my husband illustrated it. And so it teaches loving kindness to little ones. So, and it's my heart's work. So I get really bold and I tell everybody about it. So anyway.
Yes, when we met, when I talked to her first time, I talked to her about creativity, and I said I work with kids, and she was all happy, and she said she has written a book, and we talked for a while, because being mindfulness is the other part is all being happy, healthy, and also being creative. That means progress. So with that note, yeah, if anyone wants to contact Miss Mickey, you can go to her website. I just now showed it to you guys. If anyone wants, you can write to me. I will send it also.
Yeah.
So
Miss Mickey, thank you so much. It was really a great class, and it's a very good session as well. And thank you, Lata, for organizing it. You have been doing great since the beginning. I mean, it's weekends we look forward for your special session. And thank you. I had just one question, Miss Mickey. It's regarding, like you said, the mindfulness, and especially when it comes with kids, the younger ones. I mean, whenever it's like a situation where I get mad at them, but after some time, it still stays in my mind. Like, I shouldn't have been doing that. I mean, I could have been a little more better. But when it comes with the kids, they forget it. I mean, the next moment she comes back to me saying, it was, I mean, it's normal. It feels like it's nothing happened. How is it that, like, I mean, and each time I try to not do that, but sometimes it happens. So how can we actually work on that, was my question. Thank you.
First off, your yoga practice will help with that, because you're bringing mindfulness and you begin to notice where you maybe push yourself in the like you try too hard, or you over push maybe, and so there are places where you're not, like, those are places to pay attention, right? To sensations.
I mean, like, the places I mean, after the incident, but during, like, back of my mind, it says, no, you're not supposed to be doing that, but it happens. And how do you get into that at that very moment?
Well, so that, I guess what I'm backing up before that moment. Your practice, a mindfulness practice of sitting and maybe noticing the breath or other mindfulness meditations, and also informally, like maybe you start with noticing your favorite food and enjoying it. Like, so you make it easy. The hard parts are hard. I mean, it's hard to bring your attention when you're just like, bam, I feel so reactive, right? Yeah. And so we practice with little things. Take a shower with awareness. Maybe you smell the soap and you feel your hands in your hair. Brushing your teeth. Simple things. Now, paying attention to them is still difficult. So you can imagine how it's hard to pay attention and not react when things are bad. Yeah. So you may also, one of the things that I really, really, really recommend is finding something that you do throughout the day and making that your, like a little bell, right? Like, that gets your attention, right? So making something in your life, hi there, hi little girl, back of you. Making something that happens in your life like a cue for you to stop, take a conscious breath, maybe one or two. Notice what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what's happening in your mind, what's happening in your heart and your emotions, or maybe it's just one breath. Yeah. But you start doing that throughout the day. And maybe it might be when you stand up or you sit down. It might be when you go through a certain door. There are lots of apps on phones that you can get that have a mindfulness bell, and you can set it to go off, once an hour, things like that. So you really, it's like we train ourselves. Stop.
Mm.
And then when you have a tough moment with your precious girl there, that you can stop and take a breath, and then maybe there's something else to do. Maybe there's, who knows, to give her a kiss and a hug and say, sweetie, you do that all the time, and what can we do to help you remember? Right? Something like that. So
Thank you.
that some things to do. Yeah, and Latha, if you email me, I'll send some informal things and some guidance with sitting meditation. If you'll do that, you can email that.
Sure.
Email it to you and you send it to everybody.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
if
also, yeah, for everyone, there are some meditation scripts on her website. We encourage you to go and try it out and use it whenever you feel stressed or anxious.
Yeah. So I'll send you some things to send out. And if y'all have questions, you're welcome to call me on the phone, and I'm happy to tell me where you came from, that we're in this talk tonight, and I'll be happy to answer some questions. So
Thank you, Miss Mickey.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Mickey. Thank you, Lata.
bye-bye.
Thank you. Appreciate all the time. Thank you.
Care.
Thank you.
Thank you.